Guys, Jimmy here with a Final Cut Pro tutorial. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to start a project. So this is going to be great for all of you guys that are just getting into Final Cut Pro itself. Now, I'm going to start with a project on my screen already. I want you guys to imagine that this is your very first project, and later on, I'm going to show you how to find it again. So I'm just going to close this down. I'm going to right click on the library here and close library. Now, the very first thing you want to do is create a new library. In the library, this is where you're going to be putting your project, all of your files, your footage, your photos, anything that you're going to be using in your project. We're going to go to File, New, and Library. This screen is going to pop up and we're going to give it a name. I'm just going to name this First Project. And then save it to where you would like it saved. Don't worry about this screen here. This should be blank for you guys. But what we're going to do next is we are going to create some what Final Cut calls event folders. This is where I would usually store all of my videos, all of my photos. I keep it organized. I keep all of my things organized. So it gives you one already. I'm just going to name this project. That's going to be where my project actually is. And I'm going to make a couple more. So you can do this by right click and go to new event, or you can go to File, New, Event, or Option N on your keyboard for a shortcut. I'm going to name these. I'm going to name this Canon because I use a Canon 80D, and then make sure it goes into the right library as well. You may have a couple of libraries at the side here, so make sure if you do, make sure it goes into the right one. And then we're going to press OK, and I'm going to make one more. I'm going to call this one Photos. Now we're actually going to create our project, which is where the timeline will be down here. Of course, you can press this button right here, or again, you can go to File, New, and Project, or Command and N for a keyboard shortcut. I generally give it the same name as what I named my file, so I'm just going to name this First Project. And I want this to go into the event of project, which is this one here. So like I said, I keep my files organized, and I want that in the project folder. So when I come back to it, I know exactly where it's going to be. Now, when we go to video format, you want to keep it in 1080p. Unless you did record in 4K, by all means, you can do that. I always record my videos in 1080p. And your resolution is going to be 1920 by 1080. This goes across all devices. If it's going on YouTube, this one will work best. This one is best for you. When I film my projects, or when I'm filming from the camera, I'm always filming in 23.98 frames per second. If you film in 24 frames per second or 25, 30 frames per second, that's what you want to choose. But because I film in 23.98, that's what I'm going to be choosing. Don't worry about everything else. This should be fine. Apple ProRes 422 stereo and 48 kilohertz. That's all good to me. And I'm going to press OK. And then you'll see that the timeline comes up down here. And this is where we're actually going to be doing our editing. And we can double check that our project is here by going onto project. And there we go. This is what your project will actually look like. You'll have a picture in there as well, or a thumbnail, once you start editing. Now I'm going to show you how to import your files onto Final Cut Pro so we can start editing. I'm going to go into Canon because that's the main camera I use. And I'm going to press Import Media. Again, we can go to File, Import, and Media, or Command and I for a keyboard shortcut. Now I'm just going to select random footage just to show you how this is done. I did go to London a few weeks ago, so let's do that one. So under my Canon folder, I've got a bunch of videos that I recorded on the Canon. So I'm going to click on the top one. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom, and I'm going to hold Shift and click the bottom one, and that selects all of them. I'm then going to click on Import Selected, and that's going to transfer all of my files into Final Cut Pro. And here we go. We can see them. Now, remember what I said when I started off with a project, and let's say we want to go back to that project because we finished on this one and we want to go back to the old one. We're going to go up to File, Open Library, and this gives you your recent libraries, your recent projects. So this was the one that I was on before, and I'm going to press Hampstead Heath. And my library shows up here. Now the problem is that what you saw earlier, the timeline is now gone. And guys, this is what freaked me out before, because I had no idea how to bring this up, and I was freaking out. I was like, oh my god, is it deleted? So this is why we organize our files, so we don't freak out like I did for the very first time. So I'm going to go onto project, and there we go. This is what the project looks like, and it's got the photo in it. When I double click, it's going to load and it comes up here. Now listen guys, I've got another video that's suggested on your screen right now. It's how to import your files properly and how I organize my files for an easy workflow, and it actually speeds up the editing process too, so I'd recommend watching that. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next one.